Hybrids and PHEVs remain the same at 37 and 38 days respectively. Do you know why that is? Because under the terms of the ZEV mandate, they can't sell enough EVs. So they negotiated flexibilities. And the flexibilities are small engine, economical petrol cars, hybrids and PHEVs. Those are flexibilities, and that's how they make up. The target this year is 28%, but electric vehicles, it kind of works out to about 21.8%, and then the rest are flexibilities. You stand more chance of selling a hybrid or a PHEV than you do of a battery electric vehicle. So there is an ungodly amount of them that have been pre-registered. And not so long ago, the EV mouthpieces. What about these pre-reg? Hybrids. What about these pre-reg? Petrols.
Gary Martin. Wait, what? Surely not. Fiat 500, 1 litre mild hybrid electric vehicle, Euro 6. Choice of colours available, nearly new, 1 mile, save £3,805. Kate Florence and James from Cleveley Autos. You are going to tag Barry, and then a high five. Gary Martin. Who? Crying emoji. Kate Florence and James. 2 crying emojis. Then some more of the EV sycophants join in. EV Melt. Is he still rambling utter bollocks? What jewels of crap has he come up with now? Question mark. Lloyd Basson. His latest working theory is that OEMs are pre-registering EVs to beat the ZEV mandate, then selling them to leasing companies to fake the increase in used car sales. We're not a million miles away from space lasers being blamed. This chap's a space cadet, so he'll see them first. Kate Florence and James, he's an odd character for sure. Mike Reed, no, it's only electric cars that get discounted. Gary Martin, it must be some kind of mistake, right? Petrol cars don't get pre-registered. It's a mild hybrid electric vehicle, Gary. So I couldn't help myself, I had to reply to them. Did you not know that they can earn artificial brownie points towards the ZEV target by registering economical little cars? Again, that's not the win you think it is. Seeing as you couldn't remember my name last month, I seem to be playing on your mind this month. P.S. If you want to know what I think, perhaps you could just ask me and not converse with your other schoolgirl EV pals and infer that I have cognitive issues. That's just a bit pathetic and you let your business down. I'm just having a little chuckle to myself. It seems like the EV zealots think that the manufacturers avoided fines last year because they hit their ZEV targets by selling EVs. Deluded or what? Sooner or later they will have to pay up. 2028 will be the crunch time for the motor trade unless they shut these shit for brains mouthpieces up.
Yes, EV Angelis, you will find they are your flexibilities and they are being pre-registered to hit the ZEV mandate. Quiet. Nothing. No answer. After that, not heard from them. I wonder what Barry will have to say about this. Well, that's what I had to say. I wonder what the people who said, I wonder what Barry's going to say about this. When I pointed out why, nobody ever came back to me. So that was back in March when Gary thought he'd come up with a gotcha and that they were registering like hybrids as well, just like they were registering EVs. The thing was, they were registering them to hit the ZEV mandate already in March, the first quarter. We're now in the last quarter. This headline from Monday the 27th of October 2025, yesterday, Nissan pools carbon emissions with electric vehicle maker BYD to avoid EU penalties. Japanese car makers deal with Chinese rival, part of EU sanctioned offsetting scheme to help head off 13 billion in fines. 13 billion. Just let that sink in. 13 and 9 noughts. However, when analysing BEV days to sell at car supermarkets, CAP HPI found that car supermarkets are selling electric vehicles twice as fast as franchise dealers. On average, they sold their EV stock in just 27 days, although this was up 1 day from the previous months. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the used car supermarkets are selling their EVs faster than the franchise dealers? Because the franchise dealers are bottled up with pre-registered, brand new vehicles with delivery mileage on that they're trying to get rid of. Whereas the used car supermarkets are buying from the leasing companies through the auction, and the leasing companies are hemorrhaging money on used EVs. And used EVs are now a no-brainer. They are cheaper than petrols. If they will suit your needs, a used EV is the thing to buy. Don't charge it by the side of your house. Don't charge it at night. Charge it during the day where you can see it, then move it away from your house. I mean, do you know what? I think I'd even be tempted to buy a fire blanket. If I had an EV at the side of my house, I'd be tempted to have a fire blanket. I'll see if I can find some fire blankets, and I'll put a link in the description. But that's the way forward. I think, don't penny pinch. Don't risk your family's lives to save a few pennies. If anything happens, you'll never forgive yourself. In the trade side of the market, buyers were out in force to restock forecourts, despite slower sales activity. Why would they be out in force if it slowed down? Would they be out in force so that they can buy used EVs, then pretend they've sold them, then buy them back, then pretend they've sold them again, then buy them back, and pretend they've sold them again, and have a little group sale thing? You put it up for sale and somebody else buys it, and then all the used sales go up. Used EVs sell 400% of new EVs. 400%. And yet one car I looked at the other day had sold 6 times. Another one 7. And somebody sent me a message saying, it must have taken you ages to find out. Do you know how long it took me? Well, I wasn't even looking for it, because I just went on Motorway and Carway, which I do every day, to see how many disgruntled EV owners are selling their vehicles a few weeks into having it, a few weeks into a 36-month, 48-month, 60-month, 80-month finance contract. Because one of the things that would tend to point out when somebody is selling a vehicle when they're only just into a finance contract is that they are desperate to sell it. They want to sell that vehicle by any means, and they don't care how much it costs them. And it will cost them, because they will owe more than they borrowed. So they'll have lost a fortune. That would tend to point out to me that those people are unhappy with EVs and they are going back to an ICE car. That's the only logical conclusion. There'll be a small percentage of people who have got bad news, died, emigrating. You see all these selling cars due to emigrating. And we used to get loads of people in, when buyer's remorse, they'd come in, and I've heard everything, every excuse. Got home, the wife told me she's pregnant. Got home last night, daughter's told us she's getting married. I've just been diagnosed with cancer. Yes. I mean, touch wood. What a horrible, horrible thing to say, just to get out of, what, a £250 deposit, just so as you get it back. Been done to me before. £500 deposit, and we put a tow bar on the guy's car. He came in and he said, I'm sorry, Barry, but wife's got results back and she's got cancer. She's not got long to live. I'm going to have to take her to Christie's every day in Manchester for treatment. And I'm going to have to get a car that's more economical. He was buying a Sierra XR 4x4 2.8 off us. He was going to have to get a diesel so that he could commute backwards and forwards to Christie's, the cancer hospital in Manchester. As soon as he said cancer, I started making a check out to refund his deposit, 500 quid. When he turned up at the garage to get his deposit back, we'd had a tow bar fitted to the car. We'd taxed it. It was all clean and ready to go. So as it happened, we'd put petrol in it as well. It came to my day off, or my weekend off. I went up to the lakes in the Sierra XR 4x4 with my girlfriend. And just as we were pulling into the car park at Bowness, there was a white XR 4x4 pulling in front of me. And I'm in the blue one. And I saw two people in this car in front. And I followed them round. And he parked and I parked. And who should get out of the driver's door of this XR 4x4 but Peter? And who should get out the passenger door of the XR 4x4 but a very, very glamorous and very well looking Mrs. And the funny thing is, Peter, he didn't look so well. He'd got quite a ruddy complexion and ginger hair, but he was white. If anything, it looked like him who had cancer. And I went over and I said, "Are you okay, Peter? And are you okay? I was terribly sorry to hear the news of your illness, and my thoughts are with you." And illness. So there you go. So, you know, I've heard it all. In the trade side of the market, buyers were out in force to restock forecourts, despite slower sales activity. In fact, CAP HPI commented that buyers have been out in force, with independents and supermarkets creating plenty of competition both in the halls and online. Now, again, EVs are flying off the shelves from used car supermarkets in 27 days. It said what caught a few people off guard was seeing franchise dealers back in the lanes, something you don't usually expect in September when their focus is typically on new car sales. But they can't sell new petrols, can they? So what are they replacing it with? Used petrols, which is why used petrols are going up. It's probably an early sign that part exchange volumes haven't been hitting the levels that they had hoped for, forcing them to look elsewhere for stock. They can't sell new petrols. So used petrols aren't coming in against new petrols. So they're having to go out and buy them. And guess what? If they buy more petrols, then more used petrols come in swap against them. I tell you what, if these stories are meant to convince used car sales managers to go out and buy more cars, there must be some dope about in the used car sales managers these days. I can only assume that all the good guys have had enough of the way the job is at the moment. Having their hands tied behind the back when there's customers out there who want to buy vehicles and you can't sell them. You're not allowed to sell them. It's probably an early sign that part exchange volumes haven't been hitting the levels they'd hoped for, forcing them to look elsewhere for stock. Interestingly, franchise dealers were actively buying older and lower graded stock, which also came as a real surprise to many. Not to me, because their stocking loans will be maxed out with pre-reg delivery mileage used EVs. So they're having to buy more vehicles, but they can't afford the ones they want, so they're buying older ones. What's the point of buying one 40 grander when you could have 4 £10,000 pounders? It's also good for your service department. If you're not selling as many new cars as you should, then the service department won't be getting as many used vehicles through for pre-delivery inspections, through pre-sales checkovers. And I used to try and work very closely with my service managers because I'm a team player. So if the service department was quiet, I would buy cars that needed work, put them in the service department. Don't lift my leg and I'll look after you. Lift my leg, I won't buy another used car, and you'll have 8 mechanics twiddling their thumbs. It's up to you. Believe it or not, some of them still tried it. Wooden dollars. Comes out your sales profit and goes into your parts department and service department coffers. But you see, what happens if you don't do that, then you put a good car into the service department and they pull it up on needs new discs, needs new pads, there's a shock absorber gone, exhaust knackered. Well, it's not knackered, but it won't last, so we may as well do it now. Got to keep the customers happy. No, you've got to keep the service department happy. So it's far better to head them off at the pass and buy vehicles, keep them busy. The other thing is that, would you believe that when the service department's busy with, like, you know, when it's coming up to MOT time, July, August, and you really struggle to get your cars in to be serviced and pre-delivery checkover because they're busy with retail work, full up money. They don't want to do your cars. And it's amazing that you put your cars in and they fly through. They don't need discs, they don't need pads, they don't need tyres, they don't need exhaust, they haven't got knocks on them. None of that stuff. They fly through. It's honestly, it's like a miracle. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.